The saddest rock songs. Remember when this track had you tearing up? Or when this one hit you right in the chest? Rock's got those songs that don't make you jump, they sit with you quietly, like an old buddy who knows exactly what's hurting. Today, we're stepping into that private corner where some of the saddest rock tunes turn into mirrors of who we were, what we lost, and what we're still not ready to let go. Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. Some absences never stop aching no matter how many years pass, and Pink Floyd knew one of those. More importantly, they turned that ache into art with Wish You Were Here. "1975. The English band was riding high after The Dark Side of the Moon, but inside the group was cracking. Their old mate Syd Barrett had vanished into confusion and excess, eaten up by his own head. David Gilmour and Roger Waters, the brains behind the song, wrote it to him, or maybe to themselves. Wish You Were Here, the title says, but not hoping to see him again, just the sadness of knowing he'd never be the same. Most folks don't know this. The day they started recording the album, a stranger showed up at the studio. Shaved head, lost eyes, nobody recognized him at first. It was Syd, back like a ghost. The guys froze, then cut the record, knowing that quick reunion would be the last. Before we keep rolling, we want to know, what's your name and how old are you? Drop it in the comments, let's go. All My Love by Led Zeppelin. When we think Led Zeppelin, we picture power, killer riffs, Robert Plant's wild howl. But All My Love from 1979 is different. Open letter, plea, goodbye. Plant wrote it after losing his 5-year-old son Carrick to a weird illness. It wrecked him. The band was on tour, pain hit far from home, no chance to say goodbye. All My Love was his way to send a message beyond time. All my love belongs to you. The track with John Paul Jones's rapping keyboard and Plant's almost mystical voice was relief in the middle of grief. But fate hit again soon after. Drummer John Bonham died in 1980, Led Zeppelin broke up, and All My Love stayed as the last emotional will of a band that rewrote history but knew deep tragedy. Hit that like if you dig at least one Zeppelin tune. 11. Behind Blue Eyes by The Who. Few songs paint quiet sadness like Behind Blue Eyes. By release, The Who was all energy and rebellion, but in 1971, guitarist and main writer Pete Townshend dropped something else, Confession. None of my pain and woe can show through. Not many know. It started as part of a rock opera called Lifehouse that never finished. Townshend pictured a character full of rage and frustration, but deep down the lyrics were his mirror. Behind those blue eyes was a worn-out guy trapped between fame, pressure, and spiritual searching. When my fist clenches, crack it open before I use. The Who played it live with blood-chilling intensity. Not a song to sell records, a public confession. Years later, it became an anthem for anybody whose pain had no words. 10. Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce. If I could save time in a bottle. If you could bottle time, what memory would you keep? That question sparked Jim Croce, an American singer-songwriter who, with just his guitar and warm voice, moved a whole generation. Time in a Bottle was written in 1972 after his wife Ingrid told him she was pregnant. Croce felt full of love, but scared too. Knew life was fragile, time doesn't forgive. If words could make wishes come true. Wasn't released as a single at first, but after tragedy, it became a symbol. Jim Croce died in a plane crash in 1973, only 30 years old. The song came out after, hitting #1 across the states.
You're the one I want to go through time with.
His son, A.J. Croce, grew up without him but later became a musician too. Every time he plays it, the crowd feels time stop for a second. 9. Wasted Time by the Eagles.
It's all been wasted.
Late 70s brought a wave of nostalgia, mostly thanks to tracks like the one you're hearing. Wasted Time by the Eagles, dropped in 1976 on the Hotel California album, is about loves that end, what's left after goodbye.
Autumn leaves that got you thinking.
Don Henley wrote it after living enough to get that love, no matter how intense, doesn't always last. Talks about a woman who gave everything but now looks back wondering if it was all for nothing. The melody has that classy sadness only the Eagles could build. Strings, piano, orchestra, swelling at the end like a movie closer. Glenn Frey called it his favorite on the album, and you hear it when he sings. Over the years, Wasted Time turned into reflection for anybody who loved with everything and ended up empty. Not because the love was wrong, just because time kept moving. What's your favorite sad song? Drop it in the comments. While My Guitar Gently Weeps by the Beatles. With this one, the Beatles pulled off the impossible, made a guitar cry. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, written by George Harrison in 1968, during one of the tensest times for the Liverpool Four, is straight up art. While John and Paul fought for creative control, Harrison, the quiet one, was looking for his spot. One day in India, reading the I Ching, he hit on chance, "Nothing happens by accident." Back in London, he decided to write a song pulling a random book, opened it, read the first line he saw, and those words sparked the title. The guitar, played by his buddy Eric Clapton, really sounds like it's weeping. First outside guest on a Beatles record, unthinkable back then. Result was one of the group's saddest but most honest tracks. While My Guitar Gently Weeps wasn't just musical mourning, it was a sensitive guy's letter watching the world's most famous friendship fall apart. 7. The Living Years by Mike plus the Mechanics. Some pains hit late, when you can't say sorry or I love you anymore, and those hurt even harder. The Living Years from 1988 is exactly about that. Silences between parents and kids, words you never dare say while there's time.
In the living years.
Story runs deeper than most think. Mike Rutherford, Genesis bassist, wrote it after his dad died. Never had a great relationship, different generations, clashing ideas, but when his father passed, Mike realized behind the differences was love they never voiced. Lead voice Paul Carrack gives it confession tone, and when the chorus hits, you can't help a lump in your throat. Huge hit because it mirrored millions who, like Rutherford, regretted not saying what they felt. 6. Angie by the Rolling Stones. Early 70s, the Rolling Stones were living glory and chaos, excess, legal chases, personal letdowns. And weirdly, that birthed one of rock's most beautiful ballads, Angie. 1973. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards fresh off rough patches. Broken relationships, lost friends, uncertain future. Keith especially ending a stormy thing with Anita Pallenberg, the woman who walked him through his darkest phase. Fans speculated for years. About David Bowie and his wife Angie, about Keith's daughter Anita, an impossible love. Only sure thing, Angie has something universal, knowing love's over, but it still hurts. Jagger's cracked voice and that simple acoustic guitar pull off something rare in rock, pure heartbreak. 5. Love Reign O'er Me by The Who. If desperation had a sound, this would be it. Love Reign O'er Me, closed Quadrophenia, the rock opera The Who dropped in 1973. It told Jimmy's story, a confused kid trapped between identity hunt and modern noise. Behind the character was writer Pete Townshend mirroring his own inner fights. Starts with rain, sound, piano, then Roger Daltrey's voice blasts in, shaking you to the core. Plea for redemption. Most moving part came years later when The Who played it live after bassist John Entwistle died. Daltrey, eyes wet, could barely sing, but he did. Crowd joined like sharing the same cry. In the end, Love Reign O'er Me isn't sad for talking loss. It's sad showing total human vulnerability. That need for love we all feel, even if life hardens us. 4. Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. If the melody you're hearing feels sad, buckle up for the story behind it. Landslide is one of Fleetwood Mac's most iconic, and Stevie Nicks wrote it in 1974 alone in an Aspen Mountain cabin. Only 26, at a crossroads. Relationship with Lindsey Buckingham shaky, music not yet paying steady. Watching snow fall on the mountains, she thought change, time passing, fear of the unknown. That's how Landslide was born, a metaphor for life shifting under your feet without warning. Now, every time she plays it, she dedicates to her dad, mom, everybody who held her up in tough spots. In her voice, you hear what we've all felt, mix of fear and thanks time leaves. Subscribe if you want part 2 of this video. 3. Dust in the Wind by Kansas.
All they are is dust in the wind.
Dust in the Wind is one of those that doesn't need noise to live forever, and believe it or not, it started as a simple guitar exercise. Kansas guitarist Kerry Livgren was practicing arpeggios in front of his wife, and she said, "That sounds beautiful, you should make a song."
Crumbles to the ground, though we refuse to see.
He listened, and that night wrote one of rock's deepest reflections. We were in a time of spiritual searching, let down after Vietnam, feeling the 60s dreams had faded. This track caught it all in minutes. Not protest or love, it was a straight look at human fragility.
Everything is dust everything is dust.
No electric guitars, no drums, just voices, guitar, violin. Result was overwhelming and one of a kind. 2. The Needle and the Damage Done by Neil Young.
I caught you knocking at my cellar door.
Artists got a unique sensitivity, turning pain into art as beautiful as what you're hearing. In 1972, Neil Young turned suffering into The Needle and the Damage Done, not fiction, but witness. Neil had lost friends to heroin, including Danny Whitten, guitarist in his band Crazy Horse. Tried to help, gave money, tour spots, but couldn't save him. Days after firing him from the group, Danny overdosed. Then Neil wrote the song as lament. Doesn't accuse, doesn't judge, just describes sadness, watching someone fade slow.
A little part of it in everyone, but every
Recorded live, no frills, acoustic guitar, and cracked voice. Didn't need more. In under 3 minutes, summed what many couldn't say in a lifetime. 70s, when drugs seemed part of rock scenery, he spoke up, showing the other side. Loneliness, emptiness, the end. 1. Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton. This song shows some sadness you don't get over, you just learn to carry. Eric Clapton picked up his guitar and wrote Tears in Heaven after the worst tragedy of his life. His 4-year-old son Connor died falling from a 53rd floor window in New York. Clapton stepped away from stages, months without playing or talking. Until one day, seeking relief, he wrote this with Will Jennings. Tears in Heaven isn't about fame or losing a partner. It's a dad talking to his son somewhere between heaven and earth, every word loaded with unbearable tenderness. First time Clapton played it live, he could barely hold the voice. Crowd listened silent, no clapping. Like everybody got, they were witnessing something sacred. Pain turned music. And that closed the circle with the calm of accepting love doesn't vanish, it just changes shape. And that's the end of this trip. We'll leave another old songs video right here if you want to keep chasing that vintage nostalgia. Catch you next time.